Hello, you two. I'm not Jared Chambers. I'm from Big Gold Belt Media. Super excited to finally talk about your new project, Beezel, which will have a limited theatrical run September 20th and on demand and digital September 24th. Congratulations. How you two doing today?
Thank you so much.
Doing very, very well. We are so excited. I cannot believe we are finally sharing this movie with
I,
people, with the world.
Yeah,
I cannot wait to see this in theaters.
it's
So,
the big
yeah.
week.
yeah.
It's the week of, so it's very exciting.
Well, the fact that I know you two are a couple, I would assume okay if you two just pinch each other really quickly because it's going down. It is going down. Congratulations. I want to cheat just a little bit here. Aaron, is there plans to expand this story? I would be remiss if I didn't tell you at the cliffhanger and I'm watching through the credits like, come on, give me a little something. What we gonna
Right?
do here?
It feels like it keeps going, right?
Yeah. What you kind of thinking on that note?
So we do have a backstory for Beezel that is written. It was very important to us that we knew who this character was, where she came from, just, you know, we shot this in Massachusetts and it's just a stone's throw away from Salem. So there's a lot of history there with witchcraft. And, like I said, it was very important that we just knew who this character was. And so if we were to ever make a sequel, if we were to ever continue the story,
Yeah.
that's likely the direction we would go in, a little bit more about Beazle herself.
We
Yeah.
also finished off that last segment in the 2010s, intentionally leaving more space for future storylines. So you never know.
Nothing is scarier than than a horror story that could just never end.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, I would like to say I think we're in sort of a renaissance for horror. There's been a lot of independent filmmakers who have made their claim, with in a world where we have so many famous and iconic IPs, one's being resurrected, one's going from film to series and series to film, that we're looking back at the indies and they're getting that sort of love and acceptance pretty quickly. I mean, you look at Terrifier, you look at with Johnny with and the violent nature now. And I think this is another one here that a lot of folks are going to be talking about, and much like myself, going all the way to the end saying, well, where's more? Because I need that. Let's talk about the independent filming aspect. How good did you all do with your blood budget? Like, I know that's always a killer, and you all was not short of that. And that, how good did you kind of do with this here?
Oh, we had bottles and bottles and bottles of
Bottles.
blood.
Aaron, I remember many times on set, he's like, "Do we have more blood?" And the answer is always yes.
Uh, Victoria hates when I say this because usually when we film, always when we film, we leave the location in perfect condition. However, we shot in the house that I grew up in Massachusetts, and not that this had any bearing on, how well we took care of the place, but we ended up leaving a blood stain on the floor in the basement. And my parents actually ended up selling the house right after we wrapped the movie.
Right after we wrap.
And the new owners of the home now call it the murder house
Yeah.
because there is blood on the basement floor.
Real blood, fake blood comes
Yeah.
right up. So.
Well, indie film, you got to just, go with the real thing if you can. So,
Well,
But
look at that there. When there was an issue about selling the property, it seems like there's a measure of fictional storytelling. Then there's actually like the realism that like a little blood really doesn't stop anybody from buying the house here. So Victoria, obviously, what you starring and writing in this, can you just talk about that process, writing your character, and some of the elements that were very important for you to kind of include within the story?
Hmm. So I feel so grateful that Aaron is my co-writing partner because he actually took the lead on that segment. I feel like to write for my own self would have just been this kind of strange challenge of trying to understand my emotional range
Yeah.
or can I do this? It just would have added so much more uncertainty that I would have been blinded to seeing the project as clearly as I could. So I'm just really grateful that he took the lead on that segment.
Yeah.
And then I took the lead on the Mr. Weems Apollo storyline. And then our writing style tends to be, we might take the lead, but then we do swap back and forth so that the other one's helping. But it was almost like getting a birthday present when I read that portion of the script, because I got to read a character, Nova, who he designed, kind of crafted to my ability. I think crafted to my abilities. And really set me up for one of the best acting experiences I've ever gotten to have. So
I mean, it really pushed you. I think,
yes.
you sort of did something that you don't normally do.
I
And
never had a role this meaty or with this much drama to her character. And that was really exciting. It was fun, and I had my actor friends in LA who were really seasoned to come over and, work with me and help me get there. And that was just a totally new frontier for me. I really, really enjoyed it.
I'm just lucky that you were willing to do everything that I wrote on the page, because there is some bold, risky things there
Well, I'm
that, not every husband would want to see their wife go through, but
I'm a horror actress. I feel like, and it was a good story. So you look at it and you're like, well, that's great. Like I wanted to, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super trippy. In preparing for this, I watched it the first time. I kind of started to forget like in what reality was I actually watching it through, because of those sort of like how you call them that. I don't want to say dream sequences or whatnot, but like, you know what I mean? Like those moments where, you're not really sure what's actually reality or not. It's very stimulating of the mind, which is honestly one of my low-key favorite subgenres, I would say, in genre, in the horror genre, is this like you're always uncomfortable because you just don't know what's going to happen next. And to come back to you really quickly, Victoria, I mean, you have really made strides in this genre. First of all, if I talk about that, do you have a favorite Disney movie? Like, or I don't know, or just anything like kind of lighthearted per se.
Well, yeah, I'm always watching like really cheesy stuff. Like Erin will be like, "Oh, she's got her happy show on right now."
Island.
Well, Love Island has been on lately. Like it got me. It sucked me onto the island. I'm really interested. But I love some of those older, like I think they're PBS murder mysteries, the Agatha Christie murder mysteries. But then I guess that's still saying murder, and you asked me for a happy happy story. And I used to fall asleep to The Office every night, which was,
Nothing
I
wrong with
followed
that.
that rite of passage. Who didn't? And
Yeah.
lately, I've been so like excited for the movie to release this week that I've been falling asleep to stand-up comedy. So I do. There are moments right before I fall asleep. It's all light and funny.
Yeah. And Aaron, you're not exempt to this as well too, because you two have really made claims for your passion about horror. And as a horror enthusiast, I mean, we'll eat it all up all day, every day. And I mean, even from the likes of shorts, that gives you a little bit, that has you desiring to want more. And then obviously when you can do a feature and it leaves it open for what could possibly be next. So just truly, I would love for you two to just express just your love and your gratitude for this genre and what it's meant to you to this point, to now having one of your biggest releases just down the corner.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you start because I've got.
I mean, I remember seeing, Sam Raimi's Evil Dead when I was really, really young. That was one of the first horror films that I saw. And I was just it completely reshaped how I even saw the horror genre. Especially as like a young kid, I was just thinking, you could do this in a movie. I didn't realize that in these types of genres. And this just looks like so much fun. I think, creatively, when we make a horror movie, we are able to flex every creative filmmaking muscle in the book. I mean, we play with special effects, makeup, visual effects, storytelling. There really is no aspect to horror that you cannot include. So I mean, I just love every aspect of that.
Absolutely. And I mean, for my journey into horror, I still am to many ways a scaredy cat. Friends growing up will tell you, they could not show me a horror movie because I would be too scared to watch it. So the fact that I do and am the person that I am today is probably pretty shocking to those childhood friends. But I found it to be so exciting when we first started dipping our toe into horror. You're like, I can do these magic tricks for my audience on camera all the time. And they felt like there were no limits. We still live within the physics of our reality, but you can bend those physics. And it really started to open up so many creative doors, like Erin was saying. And then that was just me appreciating what I got to do as a filmmaker. Then I'm looking at the horror genre and the horror community, and I'm thinking, okay, it's you see it at surface value at first. And then you start looking beneath the surface and it is massive. There are
Yeah.
subgenres, there are fanatics, there are series, there's lore, and it keeps going. And then the community is so passionate and also
Yeah.
so kind and like fun and cool people. I have had the best experience being in horror for the past however many years we've been doing it now.
Yeah.
And I'm not turning back. It's the best.
There's a solidarity to it, you know,
There
like
is.
all watching a horror movie together and reacting, you know, together,
Yeah.
jumping together, screaming together.
Yeah.
It just makes it fun, like this like familial kind of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. During the pandemic, a lot of folks really continue to put out projects and provide us fans the entertainment. But there's nothing like being in the theaters. That atmospheric horror that's created on screen that translates into into the room, and everybody's looking around and you hear deep breaths and sniffles and all. There's just nothing more immersive and stimulating than that. I know they got 40x theaters out there, but like a horror film, it's 40x all the time. And that's going to be one with this. I want to ask you, lastly about the design here, because this gives me the heebie-jeebies. I will say the first introduction, and I'm a sucker for a good old low light shot with the illusion in the background. I mean, once you do that, I'm strapped in. But can you talk about the introduction, putting that scene together, but also just the design and how you wanted to execute the reveal? Because I'll say, as a fan, that really makes or breaks films. A bad reveal, especially if you build it up to be something and it don't look good, it don't feel good, the payoff wasn't what it was supposed to be, it can taint everything. And I thought you all executed all of those to the T. So yeah, can you talk about putting that together, and the design, obviously, of Beezel here, Miss Beezel, so I say.
So the first part, I assume you're talking about the fast forward, rewind, pause moment.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, that was actually a moment that was completely made in post-production. So it what we when we shot it, we were really just in the script, it's just a scene where he hits play
Yeah.
and just pauses it, and that was it. We decided to really build it up
Yeah.
to have, darken the image so that you can barely make out what's in the background. And it was all in the edit that we had him rewind, fast forward, rewind, play, and then pause. Really stretched out that moment, and I think made it one of my favorite scares in the entire film.
Yeah.
But a lot of that came together through just color.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it turned out well.
Yeah, and then the design of Beezel, she was an evolution. When we shot the first segment, she really wasn't fully formed quite
Yeah.
yet. And we had the luxury of reshooting something that she appears in, thank goodness, because she was not ready. And so once her lore started sinking into us as writers a bit more clearly, it's funny to even like talk about a monster as a brand, but like let's say that she has a brand, like she has, where does she come from? What are her abilities? What does she do to you? How does she get you? So then you're thinking,
Yeah.
all right, well, she's been around since ancient times. What else is ancient? We're thinking
Mhm.
like trees, roots, gnarled, knobby sticks,
Yeah.
So she had a lot of inspiration taken from these witchy trees that we were seeing in winter of
Which
New
is
England.
actually written in the script.
Yeah.
If you read the script, the description of the trees are witchy trees.
Like, don't worry, we'll find them.
Yeah.
But and then the fact that she's blind came from something that I read, or we read, somebody said that your soft tissues are some of the first things you lose in death. So if she's been around since ancient times, then she likely doesn't have eyes or they're not functioning. She also doesn't particularly need them because her other senses are so strong. So she, that all just kept going. And then your hair continues to grow as after all these years. So she has the long, scraggly hair, but everything just fit once we really understood her lore.
Yeah, I do have to shine a spotlight on Victoria, who really spearheaded the whole Beezel design. So she did a great job.
Well, you were a wonderful pincushion. Every now and then I have to test things on him, and I was like, all right, come over here.
Yeah, sort of presented, A/B comparisons, and I was like, I like that, don't really like that, not really sure about that, and really just sort of piecemealed it together until we got something that we both thought was just
Strong, yeah.
strong and terrifying and realistic. Realism is so important.
Yeah, very much true. And then I didn't get to mention, we're going to wrap here, that I love found footage. So the fact that found footage also becomes such a prominent part of this as well was just like, yes, chef's kiss, like just nail everything that I like here. But I need to tip my hat to you too, because like, yes, you can do this, you can do the film, you can write the story, and that could be good and it could be successful and so on. But you all know how this horror genre works. We want the backstory. If not, we're going to create it. So, and even though that we got the backstory, we're always going to add our little fan service as well to it as well. So like, it's all fun and games when we kind of know about the origins and the other things we can kind of connect. Just be ready for the craziness, because it's just what comes with it. So we definitely appreciate you too, not only putting out a banger of a project here, but just taking the diligence and the responsibility to the horror community, because this is our cup of tea. This is what we like, and I definitely feel that there's going to be other iterations of this story coming down the line. So now sign up for a horror convention so we all can meet you there, and we could talk about that. Bring some of the some movie props and stuff. Blood is also very much welcome at these places as well, because yeah, it's a whole experience. So I really thank you too for the time today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I love your appreciation of horror. It's really, really fun.
Absolutely. So folks, now is your time to do what you need to do. Beezel will have its limited theatrical run September 20th, which I would say be sure to check your local theaters, get in there and check it out the way it needs to be shown. And if by all means you can't, September 24th on demand and digital. Victoria and Aaron, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I